Let's go to work. Let's go. Let's go. Bring it up, bring it up, bring it up.
Saturday's scrimmage brought more than 7,000 fans to the UC Health Training Center. The hitting was intense, and we are only 5 days away from that first preseason game in Chicago. Welcome into the UC Health Training Center, everybody. I'm Matt Boyer, joined by Andrew Mason. This is Broncos Training Camp Daily, and Mace, as we mentioned, a record crowd. 7,000 of our closest friends were out here today for that Saturday scrimmage. Some of the big names, though, missing. We saw TJ Ward out with a hamstring injury. Todd Davis out with a shoulder. Menelik Watson missing with a muscle strain. However, the players, the big names that were here, did put on a show for the fans.
They put on a show, and they put on a very intense show. Certainly, Vance Joseph wanted to do something to differentiate this practice, this day of work, from the rest of them. That's why he called it a scrimmage. He wanted to bring out something more in his players than he'd seen in the first 8 days of practice, and wanted to put a little more on the evaluation of this day than the previous days. I think he got it now. Certainly wasn't always elegant. There's going to be plenty to talk about, maybe not all positive on the offensive side in particular, but the intensity was there, even though it got chippy a couple of times. And in general, I think that's what he's going to lean on as he goes back and reviews the film with the coaches on Sunday.
As far as the defense is concerned, pretty much across the board, I thought everybody had a pretty good day. Chris Harris Jr. with the interception. What did you like from that side of the football?
Well, the defense, you start with the run defense. They did a good job really containing those carries. You had the linebackers shooting up and filling the gaps. Not a lot of room for the running backs to roam, and especially on first down, making sure that those runs were stopped for 1 or 2 yards, so they kept the offense off schedule and forced them into second and long and third and long. Disadvantageous situations for the offense, so that was good. Good work in general in pass defense. The first and second team only allowed one long gain, at least one long gain that stood, that wasn't wiped out by a penalty. So good job there. Nice coverage. And then, of course, an interception by Chris Harris Jr. where he jumped the route on a pass from Paxton Lynch looking for Emmanuel Sanders. Harris read it perfectly like he has so many times and got the pick.
Everybody paying close attention today to the quarterback battle because this was a live scrimmage. Mace, even though it wasn't live for these two guys, what did you like that you saw from Paxton and Trevor? Well,
I'll start with Trevor Siemian. I like what he did on the slant to Benny Fowler on third down. Good read, quick throw, hit Benny Fowler in stride inside of Chris Harris Jr. He took off to turn a moderate gain into a long enough gain that got the Broncos in the range of a potential Brandon McManus field goal. So good work by Trevor Siemian there. Paxton Lynch, when he finally got going with the second team, he had a couple of completions that got wiped out. One by a penalty. One, it was ruled a sack, but he did get the ball away. It might have stood under proper game conditions. And on both of those passes, a lot of zip going to the outside. It was hard for the defenders to get to the ball. Well-placed balls and good catches by Khalif Raymond and Jordan Taylor, even though they did not end up standing. So that was a positive on which Paxton Lynch could end, although it was a bit rough for him to start, no doubt.
Both of those quarterbacks are their own worst critics, it seems like. Trevor Siemian, of course, famously calling himself a slappy earlier this week. He didn't back down from that assessment today.
I wasn't unhappy with my performance. I think, I'm a slappy in general. Is kind of what I was thinking. But yeah, I think over the last couple of days I've started to get more and more comfortable, and I'm really kind of feeling the rhythm and getting a big picture of what we're trying to do offensively. And I'm very lucky to be practicing against our defense because this is as hard as it's going to get for us.
I think he's just progressing and getting better day in and day out. I think that it's important not to get caught up in the competition and trying to be better than this guy in this drill and better than this guy in that drill. I think it's just about, progressing day in and day out and making yourself a better football player and making the guys around you better.
So the quarterback battle is one of many positions, Mace, that Coach Vance Joseph is taking a closer look at with this scrimmage. What do you think he saw, some of those finite details that he was looking for?
Well, go back to the run defense in particular. He saw Domata Peko occupying multiple blockers at the line of scrimmage. That's something we've talked about, that for Pecco to succeed, he's got to take up 2 blockers and free up the linebackers to make plays against the run and attack. So he liked that. I think he also liked how aggressive Joe Woods' play calling was on defense, and he wanted Joe Woods to call this thing like a game. In fact, he mentioned yesterday that he's encouraging Woods to kind of make the calls in practice like games. He's giving Woods the chance to kind of maybe not freelance a little bit, but react to the situations that he might face in games and treat practices like games, react to down and distance, because Woods hasn't called plays in games before at this level, and he wants him to get comfortable with that. So you saw some interesting blitzes from Joe Woods today during the scrimmage. You saw Chris Harris Jr. coming on a blitz, Kasim Edebali kind of with a delayed rush that led to a sack, and so some different things from Joe Woods, and I think Vance Joseph, that's what he said he wanted to see. Go back to owners' meetings back in March, and he talked about how the defense needed to throw some different wrinkles in, and Joe Woods has talked about kind of adding a little salt and pepper to the defense, kind of shaking things up a little bit, and we saw some of that today, and it discombobulated the offense at times.
Coach Vance Joseph got a lot to think about today from today's scrimmage, but he said as far as evaluations go, the upcoming preseason game might factor in heavily as well.
Today was a controlled scrimmage, especially for the 1s and 2s. But Thursday in Chicago, that's where the true evaluation starts for a lot of positions. I think everyone's excited. You kind of practice to play the games. Even though it's preseason, you get a chance to get a fair eval of the players. And that's a live environment. It's not controlled. So you want to see how guys react when they're tired, when they're hurt. Obviously versus a different opponent, so I'm excited about Thursday to see our young guys go out there and play football so we can find out the best guys for our football team.
So the upcoming preseason game going to be very crucial for Coach Joseph's evaluation process. Probably won't see a lot of those first-line guys like Chris Harris Jr., so it was good today that Chris Harris Jr. got that interception, as we mentioned previously. Harris Jr. saying he's looking forward to finally seeing a different colored jersey on the other side.
I can't wait to hear somebody else. I'm tired of going against E and DT. I'm pretty sure they're tired of going against us. So it's at that time where you're ready to see some other receivers. You're ready to get ready for this season. And I think we got 4 more weeks, almost 4 weeks, to 5 weeks to get ready for San Diego. And you just try to work every day. You try to get better and try to get in better shape every day. So I'm ready to be at my best when we come Monday night.
All right, this is usually the part of the show where we bring you Atwater's A-List, the standout performers from practice. Steve has to be on a plane to Canton, Ohio, Mace. He's going to be there for Terrell Davis's induction tonight. However, we're going to do our best to fill his shoes, but we're not Steve Atwater, are we?
We're not?
No, sorry.
Well, I tried. When I was a kid, I tried 13 years old. I tried to be him playing football. I failed. I tried.
We all dreamt of being number 27 once upon a time, but these, again, are the best players from today's practice, which Steve saw. Yeah. So we're going to pass them along, and on the offensive side of the ball, Mace, a guy who's battling for that third wideout job.
Yeah, and I can see why Steve Atwater chose Benny Fowler as his A-list player on offense. A big play on a 3rd and 5. He was on a slant route. Trevor Siemian found him, got the offense across the 50-yard line into field goal range. A big play for Benny Fowler, considering the competition for the number 3 wide receiver is fighting off Jordan Taylor, Cody Latimer, Carlos Henderson, Isaiah McKenzie, a couple of rookies there in that mix. So he's got to make plays in key situations, a lot of weight placed on this scrimmage. So making a play like that really helps distinguish himself. Fowler's got the vegan diet going this offseason and into this preseason. He's in great shape. Good play for him today.
Now, a guy who I don't think could afford to go on the vegan diet. Our next A-lister, we're going defensive line.
Yeah, Adam Gotsis, he got bigger and stronger in the offseason, and then his path to playing time got derailed by a knee injury during OTA, so he missed that week of minicamp, and then he missed the first week of training camp, at least, well, didn't miss it, but he couldn't do team period reps. He was limited to individual work, and then he got into a collision with Donald Stevenson that cost him a little bit of time this week, but he was back on the field today, made a couple of big plays with the second team. First, nice little run stuff to open a series, and then got his hands on a pass, deflected at the line of scrimmage. So making plays against the pass and the run, that's exactly what Bill Kolar and Joe Woods want to see from their defensive linemen. big plays for Adam Gotsis, and Vance Joseph had praise for him after practice.
Yeah, Adam Gotsis unfortunately couldn't participate as much as he wanted to back in the day with regards to his first year, Mace, but he is making up for lost time in that scrimmage setting, and he thinks that's where he excels.
The defense, I think, as a unit this year, the defensive line is, definitely a lot tighter than last year. I think, we're holding each other to a certain accountability, and, I think everyone's living up to it. It's a bit different that I've been in there the whole time this year, and, it feels good. I'm enjoying it and ready for the season start.
To catch Steve on the radio, 1 to 3 p.m. is his slot on Orange and Blue Radio, 760 on your AM dial or the iHeart Radio app. Steve was among the prominent Broncos alumni in attendance at camp. The entire alumni group was on hand. Guys like Billy Thompson and Steve were there to wish Coach Vance Joseph luck. They took a photo, had a couple of jokes and some laughs. It was a great time had by all. We love having our Broncos alumni contingent out here for training camp. And of course, one of the most prominent Broncos alumni is Terrell Davis, TD, being inducted into the Hall of Fame tonight in Canton, Ohio, and our own Phil Milani is there as the party begins.
Thank you very much, Matt. Yeah, the scene is set behind me for tonight's enshrinement ceremony as Terrell Davis will become the 5th Denver Bronco inducted into the Hall of Fame. And his longtime friend and agent, Neil Schwartz, will be presenting him. It's something that the two of them decided a long time ago that if TD were ever to get inducted into the Hall of Fame, Neil Schwartz would be the one who gets to present him. And those other 4 Denver Broncos inducted into the Hall of Fame will be here tonight cheering on TD, as well as plenty of other Broncos alumni here in Canton. We're hoping to catch up with TD after the ceremony, plus some of those other alumni to get their thoughts on tonight's festivities. So make sure to check out denverbroncos.com once those videos are posted. Until then, Matt, back to you.
All right, thanks, Phil. Looks like a lot of fun out there in Canton, Mace. So congrats to TD again. For more on TD's induction, keep it tuned to denverbroncos.com. Tomorrow, though, an off day for us, right? Sunday, the players are off. Monday is when the real prep work begins. It's already really begun for that first game, but it's going to ramp up now, isn't it?
It ramps up, and really the tenor of training camp will take on a different air starting on Monday, because you think about what it's been. 5 days, a day off, 4 days, and a day off. And now you have a Monday practice, and then Tuesday's session, you're kind of easing back on things. Wednesday, you're traveling. Thursday, you're playing the Bears. So a little bit different pace of training camp now. You can't really get in the dog days. The dog days are done. You're going to start seeing a different team every week, and of course the 49ers for a couple of practices the week after that. Everyone says, hey, we're tired of hitting each other. Well, now you're going to start hitting other teams. It really goes to a different level starting this week.
And we will take things to a new level, hopefully, on Monday. But that'll do it for us tonight. For Phil Milani, Andrew Mason, I'm Matt Boyer. Thank you so much for watching Broncos Training Camp Daily, and we will see you on Monday night.